Hello and welcome back to Coffee Kurosawa, where a film obsessive sits down with a film fan to talk about film. I am Ben Filipkowski, your resident film obsessive.
And I am Farrah Sarpkaya, a person who loves film, but in a super chill. If I had a nickel for every time Robin Williams consumed paint in a movie we talked about on this podcast sort of way, I'd have 2 nickels, and that's a lot. But it's weird it's happened twice. And this week, we're talking about the classic 90s kids movie for adult, Hook. Rated PG for child on pirate violence, Hook was released in 1991 and stars Robin Williams, Dustin Hoffman, Julia Roberts, Dante Basco, and Dame Maggie Smith, the latter of whom was only 56 in this movie and has thus been eternally a distinguished old woman for all 90s kids who didn't age for the next 30 years thanks to this, the Wizard School series, and Downton Abbey. We begin watching a school rendition of Peter Pan, where Peter Banning, attempts to quietly take a call in the audience on a 90s cell phone, which is conspicuous as heck. He is a lawyer in a merger and acquisitions firm, and as Hook tells it later, a man who runs from his wife and children. After fully missing his son's big baseball game the next day, Peter and his family fly to England to visit Peter's grandmother-in-law. The grandmother-in-law is Wendy Darling, whom we discover is the head of an organization that helps orphans find homes. Oh, and she once lives next to Sir James Matthew Barrie, the writer of the beloved play Peter Pan. I think you see where this is going. One night, while visiting, Peter's children are kidnapped by Captain James Hook, and Wendy tells Peter the truth. He is in fact the Peter Pan. The stories are true. He must remember who he is and return to Neverland to save his children. He scoffs, of course, but is then kidnapped by Tinkerbell, played by Julia Roberts, who wraps him in a sheet and delivers him to Neverland. Hook is, of course, disappointed, fighting Peter as he is now, an adult, a lawyer, all those awful things. He would have no honor. But Tink assures Hook she'll have Peter in fighting shape in just 3 days. Throughout the rest of the film, Peter remembers not only who he is, but rediscovers the magic of childhood, of being free, fearless, and ready for adventure once again. In the end, Peter defeats Hook and returns home with his kids, but does not forget to bring with him the magic of Neverland. So Ben, what did you think?
I do like this movie. I've seen it so many times as a kid and a few times as an adult, and I think it's really it's tricky because I think we've seen a few Spielberg movies in the podcast thus far, and this is probably the weakest of those movies. Again, thus far, I think there are a lot of neat things happening in this movie that are fun to dig into. But watching it now, and maybe this is a little too, art house film snob of me to say, but it's kind of messy. There's kind of a lot of stuff going on that doesn't really add up to much. And it kind of relies on, sentimental whimsy and those vibes a little too much at times for my taste. The characters kind of feel a little nebulous at times. When they lock in, it's great. It's amazing. It's fun. And I don't know, the highs are very high. The lows are not that low. And at the end of the day, I think even a middling Steven Spielberg movie is pretty good to watch, is pretty great in general. I have a lot of nostalgia for this one, and I love pirate movies. I love swashbuckling movies. So there's a lot in this that I really enjoy. But if I'm coming at it with a critical lens, there's some things I wish they did a little differently and maybe a little better.
Yeah. I mean, it's look, Spielberg. You're gonna get a good movie probably regardless.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure there are exceptions. I don't know. But a bad movie for Spielberg is a pretty okay movie for somebody else, right? And so I watch this and I'm like, oh, this is a fun romp. I don't take it too seriously. Maybe partially because it's kind of coded as a kids movie, but my framing thesis for bringing this to the pod today is that it's kind of a kids movie for adults because yeah, the kids can enjoy the swashbuckling and Robin Williams being a little silly and the sets are fantastic and magical and whatever. But at the end of the day, it's a story about a man rediscovering what it is to be himself without all the superfluousness of adulthood and the shell that we create around ourselves to appear what a grown up, whatever the heck that means, right? And I think as much as, you could watch this with your kids, and I'm sure your kids are the ones that are going to be watching it, and I certainly watched it. Actually, that's a lie. I watched it in university. I didn't watch it as a kid. But the underlying message is less morality of like, listen to your parents, growing up well, like whatever like kid morals you might learn, or like feelings are important. This really doubles into, hey, you were a kid once and it's still in there. You just got to reach out and grab it and just let it go. And I think that's really fun and really beautiful. Because, like, I don't know. The first little bit of it's relatable. Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, but like I think it's like it's so easy to be so self-serious.
Yeah.
And I think that's what Peter's doing when we are first introduced to him. Like, he just cannot let himself relax or be super present in things. But we get that glimpse of him being a thoughtful, caring, kind, warm person when he gives that big speech at the dinner, the gala dinner, and the big reveal of like everyone gradually standing up, and they are all orphans that were helped by Granny Wendy. I do tear up at that. That is a wonderful little moment, and it's like the thing is that we get all those moments of like Peter being kind of like he's kind of a bad dad.
Oh,
so
yes.
And so I don't know, like there's absolutely something about like holding on to childhood, but I think it's more about like it's holding on to joy. Because I don't think it's that Peter's thing in this is his character turn is tied explicitly to the joy of being a father. And he holds on to that. That's the thing that helps him remember how to fly. And there's something there about like, which I think is really similar to what you're saying, but kind of like subtly distinct in that it's not about holding on to being a child or like the inner child, but it's about holding on to the joy that you have as a child, the happiness, the sense of wonder and possibility, and carrying that forward and not denying that you grow. Like, you're going to grow, you're going to change, but don't lose sight of that person in you. I think that to me is the thing that sticks out about this. Like when this movie hits, it hits hard. And it does. When it's firing on all cylinders, it's so fun. Yeah, I do enjoy this despite my complaints about it.
Both can be true.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the kind of what I mean of childhood is, I suppose, shorthand for as we grow, we get into a habit, we learn to be afraid.
Yeah.
We learn to be afraid of making mistakes, of looking silly, of looking dumb, of, making up nonsense games, of getting messy, right? We learn all these things as we grow because, tragically, a lot of those things do in fact serve us in our work, in our day-to-day, and we discover at the same time not just applying that caution to the moments that need it. Like, I have to be a professional at work. Absolutely. Yeah, I'm not going to burp in the middle of a big meeting, or if I can help it, right? I'm not gonna, finger paint all over my desk in my, my office at work. I'll probably finger paint at my desk at home, but that's a whole other thing. But like, we get so wrapped up in being afraid of other people seeing that we are imperfect or that we're not good at something,
Yeah.
right? That we hold ourselves back from trying anything. Like, smaller tangent, I had a very lovely chat with a colleague the other day about how the fact that we have a podcast and that we just one day went, you know what? Why not? Let's try it. It'll be fun. We'll do some stuff. If we're bad at it, whatever, okay. But we tried it, and that's cool.
Yeah.
And my colleague was I just always get stuck in the how. Am I doing it wrong? Am I doing it right? How am I doing this? What am I talking about? And like all of the worries that we have been taught to indulge in as grown-ups. Whereas kids are just like, okay, let's just do it. And it's just like, cool, go. And that is joy, but that's also just freedom.
Yeah.
That we create these prisons for ourselves in our heads as we grow up. Again, quote unquote, and learn to exist in the world as grown-ups, which kills a lot of that joy as well.
Yeah, I'm thinking about how I went for a bike ride last weekend, and I have a mountain bike, but all I've really done are these like gravel trails. But then there were these like neat little side trails that were clearly meant for a mountain bike. And I was like, I'm in my mid-30s. I can probably do this and be okay. Like I understand risk. I'll be careful. And I was going through it, and I came so close to wiping out so many times. It's not like it's not like I was impressive on these trails by any stretch. But I was laughing by the time I was at the bottom because I was having so much fun. And it was like, that was a nice reminder of like, you can just do stuff. Like, that's fine. Like, yeah, like you might wipe out, you might have a slip up or make a mistake, but short of, a serious accident or, financial ramifications or breaking a crime, like I think most people are going to be understanding. So
yeah, I mean, in the beginning of the film, like we see Peter's very strict, like button up, like everything has to be perfect. Like he arrives at Wendy's house with his family and he scolds his son for being rowdy and rambunctious and like, you have to be exactly this and this is the land of proper manners and whatever. And then the door opens and the woman there, not Granny Wendy yet, but a different woman, screams in excitement and shuts the door on them, and he's like, wait, what just happened? And then she opens the door again and she like pulls them all into big hugs and, all these things. And everybody is running around and screaming. And he's just, you can see the tension from not behaving properly.
Yeah.
And then we have Wendy, played by Dame Maggie Smith. And she's just like, yeah, she has that very aristocratic British air about her. But she also is a little cheeky and a little silly, and she looks at the children very seriously and says, there's no growing up allowed in my house, and like, you're just like, this woman knows the fun of still maintaining and holding on to like that balance of, I have to be prim and proper in context, but the kids are here now and it's time to go bananas and have fun. Like, but he just doesn't have that anymore. Or he's lost it, just like Toodles has lost his marbles somewhere in Neverland.
We got to come back to Toodles because like that ending for him is like...
Oh, I have thoughts.
I have thoughts too. Maybe not as good.
No.
we can get to that. But yeah, like Robin Williams playing against type here as a bad dad is, I think, a lot more effective than the kind of light playing against type he did in What Dreams May Come. Probably because they let him go a little nuts in being a bad dad. Like, he has like moments where like he is still funny while being like super straight laced, which I
Yeah.
don't think happens too much in What Dreams May Come. And then What Dreams May Come. I'm just complaining about what Dreams May Come right now.
Yeah, we can't. You focus. We're Hook. We're looking at
Yeah,
Hook.
Hook. Yeah, he does have those like little moments, and I think you mentioned the like the quick draw with the cell phones is like
Yeah.
the moments of like joy and fun bubbling to the surface beneath this character's like very not grim but like straight-laced facade.
Yeah.
And he has that Peter has that wonderful speech at the dinner, which I think I've already mentioned, but like the fact that like he has organized all this stuff for like the reveal of everyone in attendance being also an orphan who was helped by Granny Wendy's philanthropic efforts is like that's a beautiful moment. So it's like clear this guy cares. Like he's not a horrible person unless you're facing him in court, in which case he will sue your ass off.
Yeah, he will rip you to shreds.
Was it he'll blow him out of the water? I think is the
Yes,
phrase
yes,
that gets used, which
of
is a
course.
great, very piratical
Peter,
thing.
you've become a pirate.
Yeah,
Yes.
Peter, you've become a pirate. Ominous score, ominous chord in the John Williams score, but she's smiling like this is a good thing. So that's odd.
I do want to touch on that cell phone scene for a moment because as I was looking at my notes, I realized I got annoyed at these like finance bros goofing off and like playing cowboys. Not because they were goofing off at playing cowboys, but because Peter had responsibilities with his child and was missing his baseball game to goof around. And kind of the moral of like, yeah, there's as an adult you have to learn that there's a time and a place for stuff like that, and that was neither the time nor the place. Again, not because you can't be fun at work, but because you, sir, should be at your son's baseball game, not that dude that you sent with the hand camera to go film it for you, because that's not the same.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, but in defense of Peter in that moment, he does tell the guy, like, go now, take a camera, and I want to be able to watch anything that I've missed.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, it's not like, yeah, just go film it and I'll watch it later. But, like, he still does intend to get to the game. He just gets completely distracted and doesn't put aside the time for it. And he's trying to get, like, this deal over the finish line.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there's like that. There are a couple lines of dialogue where it's like, "Oh yeah, it didn't go through. Like it fell through." And he's like, not quite devastated, but it's like you put all that effort into it and it didn't go through anyways. So like you might as well have just gone.
Yeah.
So
you missed all these moments, and now your son is very upset with you, and those are the moments that you miss. Mm-hmm. As like kids grow, you know, and that as a movie, a kids movie for adults, because this is just me bringing up Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood again because I can, reminding us that as adults, you know, we have to learn to be prim and proper in context, but we also have to learn to prioritize. And we have to learn to, you know, be not prim and proper when it is acceptable to do so. And not be so strict and like, oh, everything has to be perfect all of the time. But also, you know, look at the things in our lives and understand our impacts on other people and understand the things that are actually going to make the biggest impact. And that doesn't mean the biggest dollar value at the end of the day, obviously. That means you went to your daughter's school play and you promised your son and said your word is your bond that you were going to be at his baseball game, and then you didn't. And then you said it again on the plane and he went, please. Yeah, your word is your bond. Your bond is worthless, dude. Like,
And that bit on the plane where it's like you need to like grow up and stop horsing around.
Stop being a kid.
Stop being a kid. It's like, I am a kid, Dad.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's he's a bad dad. That's kind of the point.
Yes.
He sucks, and that's the point.
Yeah. The moment later on when he's on the phone with Brad, 'cause of course it's Brad. No offense to any Brads listening, but like it's such a perfect finance bro name in this context. Is like, and he turns and he screams at his kids to shut up and get out and give him a moment of peace. You're like, oh my God.
Horrible.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
On a much lighter note, that is Dustin Hoffman voicing the airplane pilot, the captain, in a little early cameo.
Perfect.
I also relate heavily with Peter in that I hate flying, so I'm kind of with him. It's like, hey, maybe don't throw the baseball at,
the window.
At the window, yeah.
Listen, if a baseball could break the window, you'd have bigger problems. But I understand. It's like the glass floor for any folks who have ever been in the CN Tower in Toronto. There's a glass floor in the upper levels you can jump on, and it's like,
no, thank you.
1.5 feet, 2 feet of glass or something. That's not going nowhere. But like, even knowing that,
I've seen the Final Destination movies. Okay, we don't tempt the fates.
It's funny because you're already so far from the ground. No.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. But no, it's.
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
Those moments of showing us just how far he has strayed from any kind of joy or levity and how little he has valued it. Because he promised his wife, Moira, who is Wendy Darling's actual granddaughter.
Yeah.
So the, the actual like copy paste of childhood into anyway. Sentences got away from me there. But like it's because I look identical to my grandmother when she was that age, and so like he had an imprint already of like, oh, she looks like my Wendy. And anyway, she fully is like, you promised not to work on this trip.
Yeah.
So again, his word is his bond, like hell it is.
Yeah.
It's certainly not when it comes to your children and your family and prioritizing this over literally anything else.
Yeah. Yeah. I think one thing that I do like about all of this is that this is from a period in time where we were talking a little bit about this, but if you were to make Hook in this day and age, Peter's workaholic tendencies would kind of be tied to like some noble cause that he works for. I think like they would soften the blow a lot more. Like, oh well, like your dad tried real hard, but he just couldn't make it in time. Versus like he made some explicitly bad decisions and that sort of thing. And I kind of appreciate that this movie hit at a point in time where characters could be a lot more explicitly flawed and have these troubles, these challenges to work through, and this growth to work through. Yeah, I appreciate that. Like, hey, he just kind of sucks. He won't by the end of the movie, but right now he just kind of sucks. Yeah. And I don't think we necessarily get that as much these days. At least, certainly not in a family-oriented movie like this. Like the flaws would be a lot more. Some of the rougher edges would be filed off, and we get kind of that spikiness and that thorniness here. Yeah. I really enjoy that.
Yeah, I mean, it reminds me a bit of Coraline.
Yeah.
In a way, because like the mother, I mean, both the parents, but particularly the mother was like not vilified so much, but like they seemed like not great parents because they were letting their stress leach into how they interacted with their daughter. And, Inside Out is another great example that we haven't covered yet on this podcast, but we will, don't worry. Where the dad is very, like, again, stressed money, new job, new investments, moved house, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
And you get that very human, like, overview, which I think is impactful as well. Like, there's something to be said of showing us at our worst selves so that you can see the evolution into our best selves.
Yeah.
And oftentimes, even as adults, but certainly as a kid looking at grown-ups who we think have all the answers, right? Seeing them being like, oh, he doesn't keep his promises. Oh, he yells. Oh, he's mean. Like, all these things. If we had softened that to be like, oh, he's saving the world. He's not just some corporate, like, lawyer who's just in it for the money, whatever. He's actually, like, off saving the world and, like, that's important, whatever. No, we don't care for his reasons. He's just a jerk. And I kind of love that.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
They don't fall into like, well, Daddy had a good reason for abandoning you. Like,
right. Yeah, okay, but he still abandoned me, so...
Yeah. There's no real attempt to excuse the behavior or provide an out. Like, he does these things. The redeeming moment is that, like, his commitment to the charitable work. Ironically, I've just complained about how, like, a modern movie would be like, oh, he's doing charity stuff, but... excuse me, he has such a drive to honor Granny Wendy with like this huge I think it's the hospital expansion or a new wing of a facility that's going to help a lot of people in need, which is great. But like, they also really explicitly show the toll that this has taken on the family versus it being kind of like they understand even if they're disappointed. Yeah, the kind of warts and all approach is really nice. And at that dinner, that's when like the windows burst open with dramatic evil Captain Hook energy.
The best energy.
Yeah. I don't even know how Hook kidnaps these kids, but he does it. It's
okay,
cool.
So here's the thing. They come to England and he kidnaps them out of the same window. That's the thing, right?
Yeah.
Why did he never kidnap them when they were in America? Is England just inherently magic? Is that he can travel from Never Neverland to England, but not to Boston or wherever the heck they're based? Like, come on.
These are questions this movie is not prepared to answer. Like, in no way is this movie prepared to answer these. And I don't mean that as like a... yeah, like... There's zero attempt to provide an explanation for how this all works.
Certainly not.
Even though, like, even though there's that bit at the end of the big duel that they have where Hook's like, this is all just a dream, right? Like, you're going to wake up and you're still going to be, like, a banker and a lawyer and you're still going to suck. Which is very odd. Like, this is like a dream space, but it's not. It's real.
Yeah.
They go there. They have to travel there, but also it's just a dream. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's
I mean, I'll reference again to Coraline where when it comes to the imagination, I mean, even in this movie, they imagine a beautiful feast and it's real, but it's also not.
Yeah.
If you're a kid and you're playing pretend, you can make anything real. Like real, right? And it's it. He's like, you're going to wake up from the dream. You're going to remove yourself again from the freedom and the joy and the whatever pre-childhood openness. And you're going to forget. And he's like, well, no, I'm not going to forget. I can't forget this. And like, I think there's something to that where it's not just that Peter is literally in a dreamscape because he's not sleeping. His children are actually kidnapped and so on. Asterisk, maybe. There's some things we can talk about that ending, but the the idea of regardless of whether or not it really happened, it doesn't really matter because it happened enough that he chooses to change, right? He
Yeah.
rediscovers what it means to believe in magic and fairies and to get messy and to not worry as much about his bad back and this and that. Like,
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot of stuff that is impacting him, even if it's not quote unquote real. So.
Yeah. Now, now it is explicitly real that the kids are kidnapped
Yes.
because they do have to call the cops. And that's when
Yes.
Inspector Phil Collins shows up.
Of course, yes.
Now, Phil Collins, rock star Phil Collins, says out loud what we're all thinking, that like, hey, it's kind of weird that your family has a literary history. That's odd, right? Like, that's messed up.
Mm-hmm.
And like, oh, I got to find a way to make this pun work now.
Oh God.
Really, like, when Hook shows up, you could feel it coming in the air tonight.
Literally, because the window's
Yeah.
popped open. That's so good. Well done.
Yeah, I just think it's great. That's just Phil Collins, and he's here for 2 minutes.
Yeah, why not?
And he's like, hey, this is messed up, right? Like, maybe this is like a copycat thing going on. I don't know. That's weird. And everyone's like, what do you mean? He's like, Peter Pan. And they're like, and?
Yeah. My children are still missing, dude.
Yeah. And he's like,
Yes.
but like, come on, Captain Hook, Peter Pan. No one thinks this is weird?
Yeah.
So.
Particularly because, like, okay, first of all, how the heck did they miss the giant piece of beautifully lettered parchment stuck by a sword on the door of the child's bedroom, first of all? And also the hook that the gouges that Hook has put it into Wendy's walls is very rude.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, don't get me wrong, he's a pirate, but that just seems rude.
Could say
he's not an incourteous man.
You could say it's bad form.
It is bad form. Ruining this woman's house just out of spite and drama.
Yeah. And then that leads us to, I feel like this is like a major kind of tonal shift when Tinkerbell shows up.
Oh, yeah.
And it's jarring to me because I feel like Hook's kidnapping of the kids it's really like such a cool way to shoot it. It's dramatic and spooky and exciting. And then Peter that night is like drinking because like he's like stressed as can be, and he's like up in the kids' room and like trying to figure out what the hell he should do. And Tinkerbell shows up and he's like, I'm having a psychotic break. I'm dying. That must be and it goes into like full comedy, but like a darker sort of comedy on his part.
Yeah.
And Tinkerbell's just like, golly gee, we gotta save your kids. And so it's like this weird like headbutting of tones. And I think this is where like watching it now, I'm like, you could have ironed out some of these kinks a little bit more. But
yeah, she really does have, manic pixie dream girl energy.
Yeah.
If you will,
Yeah.
But also, okay, so there's the ending of the film. The children are replaced into their beds.
Yeah.
Or they put themselves back to bed so that the mom will wake up and they'll be there.
Yeah.
But Peter wakes up in the park underneath the Peter Pan statue, surrounded in bottles. And that's one of those things where it feels like they were trying to imply, well, maybe he was actually just drunk. And having a psychotic break. And he just dreamed the whole thing. But he did, there's gouges in the house. So probably not. But also, it could have just been, it like the little drops of maybe is really interesting to me. But like, yeah, the energy shift into that darker comedy is another reason why I think this isn't a kids movie. It's a kids movie for adults, right? Because that fun, crazy, manic thing that Tink does is a lot.
Yeah, this is a movie to watch. I think this is a movie for like families. Like you have,
Yeah.
you're watching it with your kids because there's a lot in here for the parents, clearly.
Absolutely. Yeah.
A lot of jokes that will go over kids' heads.
hmm
But yeah, it gets a little manic at times.
Yeah.
And we can get to the ending, but like that is like, the ending to this is a psychotic break as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
When Toodles douses himself in pixie dust and starts flying, and everyone's like screaming and laughing, and he starts floating away, and I'm just sitting there like, what is happening? What is going on here? This is
Yeah.
bonkers.
Well, see, that wasn't my, well, it was kind of my take, but my take a little bit of that was, I think the implication is that Toodles is either coded as somewhere on the autism spectrum or that he's gotten Alzheimer's. I'm not sure which one they were going for, if they were going for either.
Yeah.
But either way, the idea of this grown-up who has either been or has become childlike again.
Yeah.
Because that can happen with Alzheimer's and can happen with certain parts of the autism spectrum. Again, not the whole spectrum. But like the implication of, okay, so he's an adult, but he has regained his memories and his childhood wonder. I wondered if he was going back now to Neverland to be a pirate because he's a grown-up, right?
Oh, I
like
don't
that's,
know. Yeah. He's going back to Neverland no matter what.
Yeah. But like in the original, I believe, the Lost Boys are not ghosts, that's not quite right, but like they're lost souls, right?
Yeah, they're orphans.
And they die, so maybe Toodles just died
and
has returned now to where he was meant to be, a lost boy back in Neverland. There's the messiness that you've referred to already. This is where we start to get into it, and like maybe we don't zoom in too hard on this, but I have a lot of things that it could have been. And there was some potential there for a very compelling side plot around aging and death and whatever, but also it's a kids movie and we you know.
To me, like now in my 30s, it reads as like, and we're all just having a shared psychotic break as like, because everyone is screaming, but also in joy, and Toodles starts floating away, and I'm like, this man was in a care home before this movie began. This seems irresponsible on some level.
Yeah.
Like,
I will also, Nana's there. Or at least a dog that is referred to as Nana.
Yeah.
And Nana was like the original name of the dog that Wendy and the kids had, right? And so I'm like, do you just name all your dogs Nana?
Yeah,
is that dog actually like 150 years old? Like, what's happening? 100 years old dog? Which dogs should live forever, but...
Yeah. It's like that bit. There's a Brennan Lee Mulligan bit where he's like, listen, man, I don't know. And that's kind of how I feel about some of this. Like, there's a point where it's like, we're not going to get satisfying answers to any of this.
No.
We can just poke holes.
Yeah.
Which
is funny because I think so far we've only really talked about the start and the end, and we haven't even entered Neverland yet.
Yeah.
So let's go into Neverland.
The last thing I'll say about this, the journey to Neverland, they fly over the bridge by the clock tower that houses Big Ben. And there's a couple kissing on the bridge, and the pixie dust falls on them, and they start to float up in the air. That couple is a cameo appearance by none other than George Lucas and Carrie Fisher, who were in London at the time and thought it would be a hoot to have that kind of cameo. Carrie Fisher also worked as a script doctor on this and polished up all of Tinkerbell's lines. So
I say this with love and respect, and not in a bad way. The manicness feels a little on the nose, knowing that.
Yeah, there's a part of me,
like,
yeah. You know, there's
very much her style.
Yeah, very much a Carrie Fisher style. I don't necessarily think that Julia Roberts' performance carries it off. Like, Tink
Yeah.
feels a little out of place in this movie in some ways, and I don't know if it's necessarily the writing, the fact that it's Julia Roberts on a blue screen or a green screen for like the entire duration of the shoot, or something else. She's kind of,
I
yeah, there's a
yeah.
bit of a disconnect.
I could imagine, like, she's a talented actress, and I can still imagine having to be this manic pixie dream girl definition
Yeah,
of, and having to play off of nothing and no one. Particularly when I can imagine a scene with, like, scenes with her and Robin Williams being manic together would have been absolutely incredible if they'd got to act against each other.
yeah,
Whereas here, like, I don't know how they did it, if they had him on set so they could, like, banter or whatever, but, like,
yeah.
it feels very much playing manic for manic's sake rather than,
Matching an energy.
yeah. So I like her as Tinkerbell. I think that given better circumstances, she probably would have crushed it, but also it didn't fit quite right in context of the film how I
Yeah,
wanted her to
yeah,
necessarily.
yeah. And, you know, by all accounts, this was apparently a pretty challenging production, and part of that was Julia Roberts was clearly going through some stuff. She had like a major breakup beforehand and fled to Ireland and had to be like forced back. And apparently took out some of what she was going through out on the crew, which, you know, I empathize. Still, you know, not great behavior, but you know, extend empathy where I can.
Yeah.
But yeah, like then they're in Neverland, and
Yeah.
it's just Dustin Hoffman being a real ham, which I
Oh,
do
he's
really
so
enjoy.
good.
And Bob
Yes.
Hoskins absolutely crushing it as Smee.
Yes. Oh, they are such a good pair
Yeah,
in this movie. They're
it's so fun.
good. And, like, you mentioned before we hit record that, like, Spielberg was like, paint that tree blue just because I thought it would be whimsical. And I kind of love that about the set. It feels chaotic,
Yeah,
and it feels like, let's just throw some paint over there and throw this over here, and let's make the food look like marshmallow fluff that's been food colored and also be real food, and, like, all, and have a track where we run a, like, what's it called? Like a scooter with a sail on it, like we're playing
parasailing
pirates almost.
scooters. Yeah,
Yeah, thank you.
yeah,
And it's just like, it's great, And, like, there are parts of it that are so wholesome. Like, the pirates put on a baseball game for Jack, Peter's son. And
he's stealing the base, and like
he
the umpire
shoots him.
shoots him.
Bad form.
Yeah.
Bad form. And it's like the energy is so good even as Captain Hook tries to manipulate these children.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Well, his manipulation is just like, I'm going to be a better father than Peter Pan ever was. Which is like,
Yeah.
oh no, don't love and care for these kids. Because, like, by all accounts, he's not doing it as like an act. He genuinely is just like, I'm going to show you how better I am than Peter Pan. I'm going to be a better father than he ever was.
Yeah. That's the competition
Like,
that he's fighting right now.
Yeah.
It's great.
And I was talking to you before we hit record about how much I love how, like, Hook's entire deal is like, it's not like a oh, am I just the villain? Like, am I like, his depression is because he can't be villainous enough. He doesn't have a great enemy to fight. And that's like his thing. He's purpose driven that way, and he feels empty without this kind of mirror to him in the form of Peter. And they get a lot of, like, they independently of one another say really similar lines. Like, I think Hook is the first to say that death would be a great adventure, and Peter says it in their final duel, and it's just like, oh man, there's like a thing here where, because I think like traditionally in the stage play, Hook is a dual role with the kid's father.
That sounds about right.
And so there's kind of something there about like Hook being a mirror to Peter, being another side of him, and there's a duality at play there that I think is really neat, that doesn't fully get surfaced in here. But I do love how much attention they paid to like Hook's deal is he just wants to be this pirate captain, this pirate lord, and without Peter, he's kind of inert and lifeless. And it's when Peter returns that he's like, yes, this is the thing I've been waiting for. At last,
Another
my arm is
great
complete.
fight.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like, it's that vibe. And the pirates, they're not there because, like, there's no, like, oh, well, here's our tragic motivation and backstory. It's like, no, they're just pirates. They're all just pirates. Yeah. That is what they do. They are sharks. They have to keep swimming. They have to keep being pirates. That's their thing. And I love that. And yeah, it's just this energy that starts to come alive in some really fun ways. And we get also, all the pirates have some really cool cameos. The most obvious one is Glenn Close as the pirate that gets put in the boo box. There's a pirate who shouts out pretty early on, "Long live Captain Hook." That is David Crosby of Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young fame.
Goodness.
And Jimmy Buffett was a pirate in here as well. So
did he have a margarita on
maybe
him somewhere?
You know,
like I don't,
I actually,
like in Jurassic Park.
I cannot recognize Jimmy Buffett when I see a picture of him without like a caption. So I do not know where he is in this movie.
Search for the margarita, you'll find him.
Yeah.
It's funny you say, because there's so first of all, the long tradition of Captain Hook and the father of the children, Jason Isaacs did that actually.
Excellent.
Which I forgot and was reminded of the other day.
We stand Jason Isaacs on this podcast.
Yes,
yeah,
so good.
He's the best.
But acting as this foil to Peter and that joie de vivre of just wanting to be a good pirate with no backstory, none of this. It reminds me very much, again, of when you are a kid, you want to play, pirates. You don't think of the backstory necessarily.
Yeah.
Some kids do. Some kids stage direct all their cousins in very elaborate plays, right? With backstories and drama. But a lot of kids, you just go to the park and like the sod is the water and the play structure is the ship, and you have mighty battles, right? Or the floor is lava and whatever. And oftentimes, if you are privileged enough to be able to run around and be crazy with kids, and it's fun and it's nonsense, the grown-ups are the bad guys because the kids want to triumph, right?
Yeah.
That's the game that you get to play. And so Neverland is just that. The grown-ups that end up in Neverland are the pirates. They get to be the pirates. They get to be the bad guys. And that's their goal, is to be the bad guy. And that is the fun of it. And then the kids are the Lost Boys, and they get to be the good guys. And that's... It's just play pretend, and that's beautiful, right? Like, that's not a Spielberg thing, obviously. That's the OG Peter Pan, but that's the energy that it really brings to life with this hook of, no, I just need my other half to go fight on the grand seas and have a war, and it'll be fun.
And just like the notion that like the Lost Boys have a bit of that feral energy from the original book and play. And Rufio, I think, explicitly says, like, we kill pirates.
Yeah.
Like, there's not a lot of... I mean, like, eventually, like, they have the big showdown at the end. And the one death that occurs is Rufio. Yeah. And, boy, it breaks my heart to this day. What a beautiful moment.
Yeah.
Heartbreaking moment. But, like... the kids are basically like having a food fight with pirates.
Yes.
So like the kind of like notion of like, oh yeah, we kill pirates,
Mm-hmm.
but also this is just like now it's just a fun family movie showdown at the end
Yeah.
with some real stakes when Rufio gets got.
Yeah. But
Um,
also, if we revisit my initial proposition that this is a kids movie for adult, and we're really trying to remember what it's like to be a kid and just do things
yeah,
just cuz, I think this is a great kind of framing of, we don't need no plot where we're going, and that's okay,
yeah,
right? Like, we don't need a reason for Hook and Peter to fight other than that's what we do and it's fun, dude. Like, let's just go. Um, and we take away the angst and the drama and the everything else, and it's just like feral kid energy, and it's
yeah,
just like, let's go.
yeah.
And it's great.
But like coupled with all of that, like there's a cool thing in here where I think like Peter's kind of like return to self is
Yeah.
that like memory of like fatherhood, of being a father, of becoming a parent, becoming a dad.
Yeah.
And oh, I love that. It is beautiful, and it's love and joy winning out. It's
Mhm.
not that he wants to protect his kids, but it's not like that modern action movie thing of like I am the guardian and protector. It is very like I love my kids.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I love them so much, and I forgot about it, and I found it again, and that is the joy. That is the drive right now.
Mm-hmm.
So I truly love that as a thing in this, and it kind of hints at this like almost like softer take on masculinity that is
Yeah.
kind of lightly present in this movie. That it does wind up being about like love and joy and um like Peter defeats Hook, but he defeats him by like laying down the fight, like because what's important to him is no
Yeah.
longer the fight, it's his kids, it's
Yeah.
getting the kids back. And I don't know, there's something like really hard to like dig out and put into words for me, but I think that it's very beautiful and very like for me very affecting. And it's about mending a father-child relationship, but
Mm-hmm.
I think that there's a bit more in here that they could have gone a little deeper on like the joy of being a father, of being a parent. It's there,
Yeah.
but it's not like as all encompassing as that father-child dynamic is. So
Yeah.
yeah, the love it. It's a messy movie that way. It's about like reclaiming that kind of like childlike innocence in a way,
Mm-hmm.
in stark contrast to the last movie we
Yeah.
talked about. So,
Yeah.
um,
I mean, to double back on what we started with, innocence. I don't even know if innocence is the right word,
yeah,
right? Because he still has all of the context and more of an adult.
hmm
But the thing that made him want to grow up, Peter Pan specifically, decided, I want to grow up
yeah,
because he saw Wendy's granddaughter and he wanted to give her a real kiss and he wanted to be a father.
yeah,
And that's beautiful. And then he loses sight of that a little bit in his becoming a pirate because he becomes an actual grown up
yeah,
adult. And rediscovering that reason and purpose for
yeah,
his life, the same way Captain Hook has his reason and purpose. And his reason and purpose is to be a pirate, hurrah, you know? And to like find that joy, even if it's the little simple things, and especially perhaps if it is the little simple things, and not lose sight of them amidst all of the things we have to do as adults, because being an adult is hard and sometimes I hate it and I don't wanna. But also, I we have still moments of joy
Yeah.
in all of that complexity and hardness. And to hold on to those because they are the most important thing at the end of the day.
Yeah. I think I find this more affecting the older I get, and particularly as I'm, someone who hopes, in the relative near future to become a father myself. And I find it very it's those scenes that really tug at my heartstrings and really get to me, of Rufio saying, like, if I had a dad, I wish they could be like you.
Ugh.
And oh man, that gets me. And just like the bit of like Peter coming back, and it's not like he defeats Rufio, but like he like shows up again. Like, oh my god, gets me now. Like, because he's like he flies back in and reveals that yes, he is Peter Pan, and like all the kids celebrating with him at the end. Like, and it's like he draws the line in the sand and all the kids join him.
Yep.
But then they welcome Rufio in, and I'm like, oh, that's so like there's no hard feelings over it. It's like Rufio's almost there as a stopgap. And when he's like convinced, it's like, no, Peter Pan is back. It's like he's immediately fully on board. He's like, this is my guy. We're going to do the Predator handshake. There's going to be like an explosion in the background, and we're going to go fight some pirates. Oh, I love that. Which is not necessarily the same energy of, I hope one day to be a father. But that's where my mind took me as I'm talking about all of this. So,
but I mean, it's also the children can be emotional and are often very heavily impacted by the things that adults do, and each other, but particularly adults, because again, children see their parents as the infallible. They are, a very big part of their life. And yet, they are often forgiving of those, what's the word I'm looking for? The places that we lack as grown-ups. And, one day we will bring children into our home, I hope. And there are moments that I think to myself, like, I know I'm going to screw it up. I know it's going to happen. And understanding kindness and forgiveness and all of that stuff. And Rufio is a great example of children can be forgiving if you are sincere in your, learning to be better. And then his kids also, right?
Yeah.
Except his. He has learned to be better and to be a better father and to be a better man and all these things. And that's really lovely too,
Yeah.
Because we may be grown up, but we're not done growing,
Mic drop.
I gotta stop with these like profound endings. I don't mean to do this. I swear, it's not intentional. I just speak in metaphor. But yeah, I think I also just on a less poignant note, I just really love the chaos and the like I said, I know it's random, a lot of it, but the way they have designed the world to look so fantastical brings me a lot of joy. Speaking of joy, where literally the map, the north, south, east, west thing,
compass,
is like in the ocean.
Yeah.
Like it's just in the
physical
ocean.
Features, yeah.
And it's so fun, and like little things like that, I'm just like, oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. It's just it reminds me how much, and this is again the kids movie for adults. It reminds me how much fun it is to just create without the pressure of something being good. Like And
Yeah.
I don't mean that to disparage the movie. I mean that literally, like, oftentimes as grown-ups we're like, oh, but I'm not good at drawing. I'm not going to draw. Well, just do it because it's fun. It doesn't have to be good. Sing as loud as you can and not just in the shower because it doesn't matter if you're good at it. Just
Yeah.
do it because it brings your heart joy, you know? And this movie does that in spades, I think, reminding us that that's important too.
Yeah. Good form.
All right. So, all that to say, Ben, if you want to learn about film, why watch Hook?
I think if you want to learn about film, watching Hook is good because it is a really, really wonderful reminder that we can find meaningful things in movies and in film that maybe aren't necessarily high art.
Yeah.
Maybe there are some messy parts of a movie, and not in terms of like the thematic subject matter. Maybe they're just like parts of a movie that you're like, I got nothing for this. Like I don't think this thing lands quite that well. But like it doesn't mean that there's not meaning and emotional relevance and emotional content that can carry you forward in some way. And I think that this movie is a great example of how, like, to be the broken record, I'm in my mid 30s and I'm watching this, and I've watched it probably a dozen times throughout my life, and when I was younger and as I've gotten older. And, I'm at a point where I'm like, I think this is kind of like, as a movie, I think this is kind of messy and, maybe not my favorite thing to watch. But it doesn't mean that it doesn't get its hooks into me, so to speak. And tug at my heartstrings in ways that I find very affecting and very profound. And I think like I think that's good. I think it's good to watch a wide variety of things. It's good to watch a mainstream blockbuster-ish movie like this and find things that you love and enjoy in it, as much as it is to watch something like our last movie, Y Tu Mama Tambien, and have like really complicated feelings and thoughts about it, and dig into like complex, thorny themes. Like all these things are true, and all these things matter. And I think Hook's a good example of that, because it is, a lot of the stuff is kind of just there, but it doesn't mean it's any less relevant.
Yeah.
But Farrah, if you just want to watch something on a Friday night, why should you let Hook sink its hooks into you?
So, I think you would want to watch Hook because it is joyful and colorful and chaos and funny, and yeah, it has some moments where you're like, I don't know if I'm, aren't you married, sir? Sir, you're married. What is happening here? And like little moments of like, oof. But at the same time, you get to play. You get to remember what it means to be a kid, with the letting go of expectation and the letting go of just get messy.
Mm-hmm.
Just get food all over your clothes. Jump off the thing and don't worry that your back is going to be sore. Crow as loud as you can, and it's okay to do that. And it's a feel-good movie, even in its imperfection, and perhaps because of its imperfection.
Yeah.
And that's why you watch this movie. And I believe that is all for us for today. So you can find this podcast at Patreon as Coffee and Kurosawa. You can also find us on Blue Sky as Coffee Kurosawa Pod. You can find me on Blue Sky and Letterboxd as Farrah Sarpkaya, and at sarpkaya.ca, where I lend my voice as a voice actor. Ben, where can the people find you?
You can find me on Blue Sky as at the Benjimon, and on Letterboxd as at Benjimon. And that's going to bring us to a close on another wonderful episode. Thank you for joining us, and we'll catch you next time.
Just go to the second star on the right.